Hello and welcome back. In the last lecture, you created a binary file, and in this lecture, you will deploy that binary to Lambda using AWS Console. So let's see all the steps which you will follow. First, you will create a brand new Lambda function. Then you will upload the binary which you created in the last lecture to this Lambda function. After uploading, you will configure a test event to trigger the Lambda function. And finally, you will run the test and check the logs to confirm the output. So let's start. To create the Lambda function, open your internet browser and log into AWS account. After login, choose the right region in which you want to deploy the Lambda. I have chosen US East 2. After you choose the region, search for the Lambda service. You can search here or choose from the menu. Once you come on the Lambda landing page, you will get an option to create a function. Select Create Function, and then you will get these options. Our goal in this lecture is to author the Lambda from scratch and then upload the binary. So choose the author from scratch option. For function name, this is just an easy to remember name to describe the purpose of this Lambda. You can name it Hello World or Hello Lambda. Next option is runtime. Runtime is the language in which you wrote the Lambda function. In our case, it is Go, but just for your information, there are other supported languages as well. Next option is permissions. Lambda function requires permissions when it needs to communicate with other AWS services. So for example, if you need your Lambda to read something on DynamoDB table, you would need to provide read permissions to the DynamoDB table. Or if you need your Lambda to write some files to S3 bucket, you will need to provide write access to the S3 bucket, right? In AWS, all of these permissions work with IAM roles and policies. You need to create a new role or use the existing one and attach all the required permissions to the role. And then you attach that role to the Lambda. So for this Lambda, you don't need to provide any database permissions because you are not connecting to any database. You just need a role with basic execution permissions. Yes, you heard it right. Basic execution permissions let Lambda run and also write logs, and it is mandatory. Without this, Lambda can't execute. You will see that in detail in the next lectures where we provision IAM role using CloudFormation. But for now, choose create a role with basic Lambda permissions, and it is gonna automatically create everything for you. So once you are ready, press create function, and you will see an empty Hello World Lambda created. On this screen, you will see an ARN, which is a unique identifier for this Lambda. It's also called Amazon Resource Number. Then you see a designer interface. This is where you can manually configure Lambda triggers, such as S3 events, API gateway, etc. Also, you can configure destinations, for example, a database where Lambda can write records. Down below is the function code section. This is the section where you can upload the binary you created in the last lecture. If you are using Node.js or Python runtime, then you can even get an option to write inline code here. Further below, you have section for environment variables. This is where you can manage all the Lambda environment variables. Then you have tags section. Tags are labels you can assign to Lambda function or any other AWS resource. And you can use these tags to filter and track AWS cost. So these tags doesn't affect the Lambda function execution in any way. Then you have basic settings. This is an important section. Here you can configure runtime, you can change handler name, allocated memory, and timeout for the Lambda. By default, the timeout is set to 15 seconds, and at the time of recording of this course, this timeout can go up to 15 minutes. Down below, you have more sections for VPC, concurrency, etc. And those sections are not covered in this lecture, but we will cover it in the future lectures. Now let's upload the function binary. As you can see, there are two options. First is to upload a zip file, and second is to upload the binary using S3 bucket. For this lecture, you will use the zip method. So choose upload zip and select the binary zip file. In Mac operating system, you can just right click the binary and select compress to create a zip. I have already zipped my binary here, so I'm selecting that. After the upload is finished, this message will change. The other setting you need to change is the handler name in the basic setting section. At present, it's set to hello, but the handler name should be hello world because that's our binary name. So let's change it. Now, at this point, your Lambda function is complete and ready to run. But because you do not have any triggers for this Lambda, so the easiest way to run it is using a test event. To create a test event, select configure test event and give it a name. The test event value doesn't matter as your Lambda function doesn't utilize it and it is not expecting any input event. So you can pass anything here or keep it blank. Now the test event is created. All you need to do is press the test button and it should run fine and show the final output. Okay, the Lambda executed successfully and it didn't fail, which is good. So if you click on details, it'll show the logs and you will see the hello Lambda output. Now additionally, it also shows a request ID, which is the unique ID for this execution. It shows the duration for which the Lambda executed, and it shows the build duration, which is more than the execution duration. This is because AWS builds in the interval of 100 milliseconds. So if your function utilized less than 100 milliseconds, still you will be built for 100 milliseconds. The memory size is 512 MB. This is the memory you allocated to the Lambda in the basic settings section. The maximum memory used is the actual memory your function used while execution. So in this case, we have over provisioned the memory, and AWS builds you based on the allocated memory, not on the utilized memory. So if you see your function is not utilizing the allocated memory, you may want to allocate less memory, but lowering the memory could affect the execution time. So you need to keep that in mind and make sure you choose the right values. That's all for this lecture, and I hope you enjoyed it. See you in the next one.